Hey there, everybody. Movie reviewer next door here, and I think I've found the issue with the whole audio thing. I think I've fixed my issues. I think it'll sound a bit louder now, which is good. I did test the audio, like recording and all that, so we'll see how it works. And if people can comment, that'll be nice to let me know how it sounds now. But yeah, today I watched Top of the World from 1997. This is an action thriller film from director Sidney J. Furie, and it stars Peter Weller, Dennis Hopper, Tia Carrere, Martin Kove, and Peter Coyote, among others. So, the reason I watched this film, I knew it was from Millennium or New Image, as they used to be called. Back when this came out, it was still New Image. They're a company that makes kind of lower budget action films. Action films, thrillers. They even have some dramas and comedies even in their belt. Um, like, yeah. So a company like that, they started out doing direct-to-video films. They worked up the ranks, and then they got to The Expendables, and Olympus Has Fallen, Hunter Killer. Um, but yeah, like they've been going up and up, and yeah, there are people that make fun of all these films. They're like, oh, they're terrible films. They're some of the worst films ever. They're just saying that because they're action films, and these people don't know how to have a modicum of fucking fun. But Top of the World here, of the Millennium films I've seen so far, it is one of the better ones so far. I haven't seen a ton of them. I've seen the Has Fallen trilogy, or the ones made so far: Olympus, London, Angel Has Fallen. I I liked Olympus. I loved London. I thought London cut all the fat of Olympus and just was an awesome like action ride. Angel was still fun. Had a really cool final shootout in the hospital, but Blind Horizon with Val Kilmer was an interesting drama thriller. Uh, Survivor, I wasn't crazy on Survivor with Mila Jovovich and Pierce Brosnan. It kind of felt like a bunch of action scenes tied together. It felt like action scenes from different movies, like just tied together, and it's just like, oh, look at this cool thing, instead of look at this thing that's relevant to the plot. But this film, Top of the World, it's about Peter Weller. He just got out of prison, 4 years in prison, for something that'll be revealed in the movie. I'm not revealing that. And his wife, played by Tia Carrere, wants a divorce, and she's wanted a divorce ever since he got detained. Um, so they go to Las Vegas for a quick divorce. He ends up playing the slots, and he wins the jackpot as it is being robbed. So the cops think that he was a diversion to like keep them from getting to the money being stolen. So Dennis Hopper, the shady owner of the casino, uh, decides, oh hell no, he's like, oh, you're the ones robbing me. So he basically, Peter Weller has to, his character has to find a way to get out of the situation he's in and prove his innocence. Interesting plot for a type of film like this. Oh, and it turns out Tia Carrere, her boyfriend ever since Peter Weller was in prison, was Dennis Hopper. Interesting. But yeah, this film, I gave it a 7 out of 10. It's decent. I do have some major problems with it, but I'll start off with the acting. The actors. Peter Weller does a good job as Ray Mercer. He works as a tough cop. He's played a tough cop before, RoboCop. And he just works the role. There's some pretty great action scenes with him. We'll get to that in a bit. Dennis Hopper is fun. I wouldn't say it's a fantastic performance. He looks like he's having fun in this role, as he should. He even does something similar to what he did as the villain in Land of the Free. Not Land of the Free, Land of the Dead, where someone questions him and then he just, like, shoots them. I think that's just a Dennis Hopper thing. Tia Carrere... What to say about Tia Carrere? The only other movie I've really seen her in was True Lies. I think she worked better there than here. She was okay. It didn't bother me so much. She got better as the film went along, but she kind of just felt a bit... She's one of those actresses you usually don't get for acting, if you know what I mean. Joe Pantoliano, he's there, he's fine. Cary Tagawa barely has any dialogue, whatever. Peter Coyote, oh my god. I like Peter Coyote as an actor. He was way too over the top as the butcher, who I guess the money being stolen from the casino is partly his or some. There's a scene where he's shooting at Peter Weller where he just says, "I want my money, Ray," like a million times, and I guess it's supposed to be comedy. I'll get to the comedy, but the action in the film, for the most part, is well done. What I mean by that is the first 30 minutes, the action, whatever action's in about the first 30 minutes is kind of that, teetering on not very good action. Because there are constant, like, guns being pointed at something, and then when they go off, the squib or the spark that goes off to, create the feeling of a bullet actually being fired from the gun instead of a blank, for effect in an action movie, isn't really where it should be. It kind of comes off like it was haphazardly done or done in a rush, which they do get through that later. After the first 30 minutes of the film, I'm pretty, like, most of that action is pretty great stuff. But yeah, it does kind of make the first bit of the movie feel a little bit slower than it should. Another issue I have with the film is the comedy. There's a lot of comedy in this for some reason, and most of the villains feel like fucking cartoons for a lot of it. Like, again, it didn't sully the entire experience. It does still feel like it's a bit... If they took it a bit more serious, I think I would have had a bit more fun with it. There's also there's a weird thing with Martin Kove and I think Kevin Bernhardt. I've never heard of Kevin Bernhardt, but yeah. Martin Kove's character Carl and Kevin Bernhardt's character Dean, where I think they're insinuating that they're gay, and he's like, I had a feeling, and he said, "You have feelings?" And he's like, "No, I didn't mean it like that." And earlier he was like, "Promise me you won't kill anybody." And I was like, I don't know if they were trying to do that. I hate, like, pushing gay stuff into movies where it doesn't belong, but I guess that was maybe done for comedy. It wasn't funny. I was just mostly like, really? They're doing this? They put a gay character in this for some reason? But yeah, other than that, the film is pretty alright. There are some shots that sometimes just don't work. Sorry if I'm clicking, I get distracted. But it's just it feels a bit like some of the scenes they didn't get exactly what they wanted, and they kind of edit around it. Sorry. But yeah, I kind of wish they just reshoot it. I know they're during some of the action scenes, there's a lot of shit being destroyed. You can't exactly just redo all of these scenes, like scenes where he's driving the car through the casino and just like destroying um, all of these like gambling tables and these slot machines, and it's those are the best parts of the film, or when the car chases come in, because the shootouts are fine. The shootouts aren't anything new, of course, but like they do have the great sounding the great gun sound effects that feel really punchy. I do wish it was a bit bloodier. There are only like a few bits of the film where the gunshots are like super bloody and like, ooh, blood splatters on something, and I usually like that more because you get more of the feeling that a character's dead. Because I've seen plenty of movies where it's like, oh, did the person actually die? There wasn't any blood. And then I forget I'm watching a PG-13 action movie. But yeah, this wasn't PG-13. This was R. But yeah, just things like that kind of bugged me. I know a lot of people wouldn't care. Um, Especially my complaint about the squibs not hitting where they should. And there are many times where characters get shot and there's like no squib at all, but they act as if there was a squib. Like they were gonna put in plugins, but this was 1997. They wouldn't have had CG blood yet, really. I mean, if they would have tried it, it would have looked awful. But yeah, just this film's kind of hard to talk about because while I don't hate it, I don't love it either. It's just decent. It's so close to being good. It's so close to being a good classic action movie. And this is the same director, Sidney J. Furie, that did Taking of Beverly Hills. And from the clips I've seen of that, there's like cars flying into fucking houses in Beverly Hills. There's like huge explosions. There are some huge explosions in this film, but they're so few and far between that it's like, okay, it was cool for the moment, but like maybe I've gotten spoiled with all of the PM Entertainment films that I've watched. Like if anyone's seen Recoil with Gary Daniels, that is like action movie heaven. Like with the amount of explosions just in like the first scene. Like the like 15-minute opening action scene. Like I'm not getting 15 minutes. It's like fantastic stuff. Like that pyro guy deserved all the money he got and more. But like I do wish we got more movies like that nowadays, because a lot of movies nowadays rely on CG and don't want to use blood squibs, even though it's cheaper and looks better because there's actual blood there, and there's an actual like poof that looks like someone got shot. But yeah, just this one's gonna be shorter than usual because I just don't have much to say about this film. It is on Tubi. It's free to watch with ads, or if you use an ad blocker, you don't have to work with the ads. But like, yeah, it's a fine action movie. The ending scene is pretty alright. But yeah, just kind of a fun like Sunday night movie or whatever. But yeah. Sorry I didn't have more to say. See y'all some other time, and yeah.